Welcome to Real Talk with Uncle D. I'm your host, Uncle D. Let's do this.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to Real Talk with Uncle D. I'm your host, Uncle D. Here in Kansas, beautiful state of Kansas, at the MCT Live Studio with my partner, PMD, Paul Michael Davis. My motto for my show is, the more you know, the more you grow. So we're going to cover the topic fear today. A lot of our emotions don't get opened up these days because of technology and stuff. You know, back in the day, we had to go out and hunt food. You may be getting eaten by a tiger, bitten by a snake. You got to hunt your food. So fear was always one of the top emotions they had to use, right? Not so much these days. And I'm going to tell you, give you a story to show you how I introduced fear to my daughter, because she had anxiety and nervousness, and I replaced that with fear. So basically, I divorced her mom when my daughter was 5 years old. And I got full custody when she was 14. And I'll tell you more about that as the story goes on. But the deal is, I cheated on her mom. Cheated, man. I broke our family up from bad decisions. And we just didn't, neither one of us knew. Neither one of us knew, had the tools to fix it. And so I cheated, right? So now what? We're a divided family, right? But we still have a job to do, right? We still have to basically raise our girl like we're all still together. We're still a family, right? And I'll give her props for that. She's a great lady, great person, kind person. She's a hard 12 for sure. And she's very open-minded, and her best interest is of her child. So, what we did is, if say Morgan got drunk at this prom one time, and she had to be accountable for her mistakes, right? So I had a conversation with her mother, and then her mother basically had a conversation with the stepdad. But the main people that are making the decisions is me and her. So then what we do is we get our child involved, and she goes to my house, I go to her house, and we tell her what's up. We tell her exactly what's going on, and blah blah blah. So she can't play either side against either side, So she's not later in life, getting to a place where, well, shoot, I'm going to move with mom. You're just giving them bad tools, man. We brought them in this world, man. Life isn't about winning or losing, man. Here's the deal. When we're young people, we teach our kids how to play football, basketball, whatever. It's all about winning. Boy, we won. When you lose, man, we never tell, hey, when you lose, you know what? Losing is like, what can I do to be better? This guy beat me up. So if that ever happens again, I got to figure out that this doesn't happen again. So losing teaches you a lot of stuff, struggle teaches you stuff. So, I mean, life isn't a game, man. Life isn't about winning and losing. So we're taught to win and lose because we play games, right? And then when things go bad, we think, well, this lady isn't going to get trolling me. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm not going to pay her child support. I'm not going to do this because I got to win. No, that's totally wrong, man. You've got to give your tools to make her life better than yours. So that's just how I feel about that. So we'll get to the stepdad. Basically, it seems like every story I talk about, man, there's alcohol and drugs involved with people who are basically ignorant and aren't willing to change their mind and grow because they wash all that stuff down. But I think they're taught that. I think, sometimes, your dad's at work or mom's at work and come home and they have a beer and I had a hard day, right? So I have a beer or whatever, right? So you're teaching your kid if things get hard, you know what? I got to have some substance to make me feel better instead of facing it head on. And I give myself props for that because I've never turned to drugs or alcohol. I face my stuff head on, man. I'll never show pity for myself because, I put myself in that I put myself in that position, so I can't blame it on her because it takes two to fail. There's two to a story. So I just got to fix what I did wrong and make sure it doesn't happen again. So That's just the way it is. So the deal is, man, he was an alcoholic. He was a military man, ex-military man, kind of set in his ways, and very small-minded, not very open-minded. And my kid comes from a place where her thoughts and values are important to me. So I want to know if I'm talking about a certain subject and she has a different opinion. I think that's great. I'm not a right fighter, and so when he would bring up certain topics, she would basically not question it, but she'd have a different opinion. But he'd look at it like he's always being challenged. It's like she's trying to humiliate him or something. So he looked at it like she was always trying to outdo him. So they always butted heads on that end, But it is what it is, man. And then here's what happened. One night I went to drop my kid off, and he was outside drinking with some friends, and my daughter had a daddy-daughter dance, and he wanted to go, but she wanted me to go, and I'll tell you why she wanted me to go. Hey, dude, when I was a young cat, man, my favorite show was Soul Train, right? I love Soul Train. I always want to be on Soul Train. I still do to this day, because you know what? I can wear bell bottoms, platform shoes, butterfly collar shirt, the pimp hat, and pop and lock, shoot, center of attention. Sign me up, dog. Sign me up. So what had happened, since I didn't ever make it to Soul Train, but Soul Train can give you a shout out. Every Friday night, since my kid was 5 years old, we'd take the neighborhood kids, and we'd have the Soul Train line in our house, right? So they have to wear here's the rules. If you want to stay on the Soul Train team, you had to wear a different outfit, different dance. You couldn't bring the same stuff to the Soul Train line, because this ain't reruns. We don't want to see a rerun every week, right? So here's the deal. Bring a different dance, So there ain't no way she wasn't taking me to the dance, because we going to kick it, right? So he says to me, thanks for letting me go to the dance with your daughter. And I said, I'm not. And again, it's an old story, right? F you, right? And he said some foul stuff to me, man. And it didn't turn out good for him at all. You know why? I went up to her mother's door, knocked on the door, grabbed all of her belongings, and never turned back, man. Because here's the deal. I've already changed who my kid was by making bad choices on my own, right? So living with an alcoholic and not knowing what's going on, she can't afford to have any more bad tools in a toolbox, man. So I wasn't worried about the court system. I wasn't worried about nothing, man. I'm worried about my kid's safety. But you know what? I told you my wife was a great person, and you know what? She agreed with me 100%, 100%. So kudos to her. That's why I love her, and I love her to this day. So we've always felt like a family, and she's going through some hard times right now. God bless her, and I'm there for her. But the deal is, we've always been there for each other, We never we can't go to this wedding. We'll make sure the Hatfields and McCoys, Hatfield sit over here and McCoy sit over here, It's not like that, She don't have to pick or choose or be nervous because we're in the same room. That's just not fair, So what happened from there is I ended up getting a small apartment, right? She comes from a big house. Tell my kid all the time, house don't make a home, right? Because here's the deal. Most of the time we live in a big house, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But the deal is, most of us can't afford that big house, right? We're just trying to keep up with the neighbors, and that makes us feel like we made it, right? Because we got the dog, we got the white picket fence, we got we got puppies, we got everything, man. But you know what you're doing? You're working like 90 hours a week, living paycheck to paycheck, and you don't even know who your kid is, man. And they don't know who you are. And the reason I say that, man. My dad passed here recent, and I wasn't sad or nothing, and I thought I was a bad person, but you know what? He didn't give me any memories. And with my kid, I'm full of memories, because here's the deal. People say you only live once. I say you only die once, right? You only die once. So you got to leave people memories, man. You got to leave them memories. So anyway, in that apartment, once my kid moved in, I had to basically get to know who my kid is. She was a picker. From all the stuff, she was a picker and a cutter, right? So from 5 to 14, she was going to therapy, doing a little therapy balls and stuff. None of that stuff worked, right? So as she moved in, I started paying attention to her and kind of figuring out her personality. I know there's some built-up anger in that little girl, right? So, I decided, hey, man, let's introduce fear to this kid. Take away that anxiety and that nervousness, So I taught her how to hit mitts, man. Taught her how to hit mitts because she want to hit somebody and she want to hurt something, getting that anger. Instead of hurting yourself, man, learn how to put that anger out, man. And actually, I gave her some tools if she ever got a situation she could handle herself. So basically, taught her how to hit mitts. She got heavy hands, man. She can hit hard, and she still boxes to this day, right? Her stepdad taught her how to shoot a gun. She knows how to handle a knife. So, man, if anybody comes out to her, though, the fear is her best friend, right? So one of the biggest things I taught her was grappling groundwork, because once you let somebody pass your hips, son, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You know, you ain't got no hands, no arms, no fingers. It's a done deal, man. If somebody wants to take you out and put it, here's the deal. If somebody wants to take you out and put it on you, they will. And you know why? Because dead people can't talk, man. Dead people can't talk. So basically, what I did, I play to win. I don't mess around. I mean, my kid had to earn everything in the house. You know, if somebody's beating you down, they ain't just gonna let you up. You know, if somebody, whatever, I ain't gonna let you beat me in Monopoly. I ain't gonna let you beat me in anything. You gotta earn it, right? There ain't no free ribbons in my house. So basically, it took her about 4 to 5 years. So I couldn't get past her hips, man. The kid had this stuff down to a science, right? So what happened is, man, you know what? Reality kicked in. When opening up that fear box, she had to use it. And this was real recently, man. And she did everything right. You know, she had the coworker, it was 11 o'clock at night. She had the coworker drive her as far to the car as she could, because there was a fence there with a combination on it. So she walked to the, and usually she did everything right because she had a coworker take her. She usually carries a gun. Work won't let her. She usually carries a knife. Work won't let her. And she usually carries pepper spray. Work won't let her, right? So only tool she had was her hands, right? So she was walking to her car. As she got in between the two cars, there was a tall, slender man breaking into her car, right? He startled her, right? Startled her. So what he do? He hit her in the face and he jumped on top of her. You know? You know what? That's a bad day for that cat. He just made a bad choice. He made a bad choice because he ain't getting past that girl's hips, right? He ain't getting past them. And you know what? Now she got hands, fingers, and arms, and he got eyeballs, and she got, you know, it didn't turn out good, right? He had to get the hell out of there. He getting ready to get his ass beat, right? So, boom, he has to get out, right? And she said her first instinct was kind of chase him down, but because her adrenaline's flowing, right? So she gives me a call, man. And she's all adrenaline's flowing and stuff. And she says, yeah, Dad, some dude attacked me, man, and I wasn't even scared. And I said, before I say anything, she said, man, it made me mad because he hit me in my face. He disrespected me. But she was kind of looking at it like, she was kind of looking at it like she was at a bar and her and this guy was having an argument and he hit her in her face. You know what I'm saying? She didn't realize what had just happened could have been a life or death situation, right? So, but that's what fear did, right? Fear's like, I'm protecting myself in any kind of situation, whether my girl wants to hit me in my face or somebody gonna try to take my life, you know? So her mind took her to some place where she was comfortable, you know? So I just said, man, I'm proud of you, but let me ask you something. If you have never opened that box called fear, you know what? We wouldn't be even having this conversation, man. Because, like I say, man, that dude would have wrapped you up and you've never been there. He'd have been on top of you. Dude, he'd have put it on you, man. And then you saw his face. You got startled, right? So I don't think his intention was to hurt anybody, but now you see his face, right? So, and he get past your hands, it's a wrap, dude. He going to put it on you. And like I say, dead people can't talk. So God bless you. And it basically made her somber because it's the real deal. So here's my advice. You know, teach yourself or teach your kids some type of self-defense, jiu-jitsu or whatever, just in case you get in that situation, whatever. And you've got that tool in you so you can respond to it and use fear as your friend. And I was telling my friend Paul today, I'm like, man, everybody needs to be punched in the face, right? To feel what it feels like to be punched in the face, you know? Because it opens up that fear box, man. If you've never been hit in that face or somebody's yelling at you and disrespect you in front of your family, you know, you're scared. You don't know what it feels like. And most people that are angry, usually untrained and can't fight. People that can fight are just going to sit in there and wait for you to make a bad move because they're going to strategize and put you to sleep. That's just the way it is, man. So anyway, I want to give a shout out to my good friend Joe T. Well, we've been friends for years. He works out. He's a very religious man right now. He's a pretty man like my man Paul. He's pretty and has a great body. I always looked up to him, and he's a real religious man now. Actually, he has a book out on Amazon called Fit for Life. It's basically a spiritual perspective on our bodies. And I'm open to anything. And what he said to me a while back, I actually told him I was doing that podcast about fear, and he basically he said this. He said, in the Bible, fear not is the most word used in the Bible. Fear makes us quit dreaming, man. Makes us quit doing. Amen, Joe T.L. Amen. Amen to that. So, hey, thanks for jumping on the Uncle D train. I hope you enjoy the ride. Repping, I'm stuttering now. Repping the Midwest for sure. See you next time. Yes, sir. Thanks for tuning in. Your favorite uncle, Uncle D, for advice, swag, motivation, and life lessons. Sounding off, repping the Midwest for sure. Yes, sir. If you're watching YouTube, don't forget, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button on the side. Bing, bing. Hey, Uncle D signing off for sure. Over and out.